Let's go. TGIF, everybody.
You don't know it.
Think growth. It is Friday. Say that again.
I said you don't know it, but I'm over here like playing my air guitar like I actually know how to.
Dude, I've got a couple of my guitars right here. It just makes me want to get, I had a really good friend, Carlin. I think I was telling you about this. I had a really good friend buy me. You ever seen the movie Borat?
Yes.
And he's got like the lime green mankini.
Oh no, Jesse.
Dude, my friend bought me one. It has not left my bedroom, but maybe one of these times it may need to come out, with a guitar, and might make for a good, TGIF music video or something. What do you think? Guys, what do you think about that? Should we do that? Like a Borat meets Eddie Van Halen? Yay, no, yes, no, maybe so. Carlin doesn't seem super psyched about that idea.
Whoever Facebook user said maybe not.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Chris says, Chris Dickerson, what's up, bro? Thanks for being here, man. He says, go get it. What are we waiting for? Oh my goodness, I love that. Facebook user, I don't know if this is the same Facebook user. Asks, will this be recorded? Absolutely. This will be recorded. You'll be able to go back and view it. It is on the YouTubes. It is also being streamed to a handful of different Facebook groups and social media accounts, as well as my own. So, yes, you can go view the recording. It will be there forever until Zuck decides to have an up Zuck or whatever the hell happened last week. So yeah, it'll be on there. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited. This has been a phenomenal week. We have had so much going on. We actually started a brand new cohort in our Growth Co mentorship. And Carlin, what is actually, before we even do that, before we even get into that, let's go through some announcements really quick, just so I don't forget, because we've got some really neat things going on. We've got some important things that people need to be cognizant of and wary of. And one of those things is making sure that you are surrounded by the right people. I want you guys to take inventory really quick of some of the thoughts or ideas, things that you guys have done or executed on or wanted to do. And I want you to kind of think back, like, where did that thought originate from? Okay. Where did that thought originate from? Even if it was an original thought, where did that originate from? And odds are it had something to do with the environment that you are in. And when I say the environment that you're in, of course, I'm talking about, well, your relationships, the people that you surround yourself with. And I did a live a few weeks, so it was probably maybe a month or so ago, on the importance of dreaming big, why it's so important to dream big. And it's amazing what'll happen when you're thinking big and you're surrounded by other people who are also thinking big. They're also executing a certain way, and they're holding each other to a very high minimum standard. So one of the things that we want to go over today include, you guys have probably heard this before, but you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, i.e., your standards. And in an effort to increase your standards, one of the things that Carlin and the amazing Haley host every other Friday. Carlin, what can everybody expect? What does everybody need to have on their calendar if they want to increase those thoughts? They want to increase the way that they execute. They want to increase the caliber of relationships and friendships that they have. What do you guys have going on?
Book club. Reading The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. So, and we're doing, it's a pretty reasonable size.
That's a decently sized book.
It's a manageable sized book. So we're reading part 1, which is about to chapter 10. There are two different books. The only difference between the two books, just so you guys know, is the font size. So if you end up ordering the big book, it's just because the print is bigger.
I definitely want the big book with the big.
I had to switch to Audible actually because the print is too small and my glasses are all sorts of busted.
So you guys have book club tonight. Is that the current book you guys are reading right now and you're going to be discussing, or is that the new book?
No, that's actually the current book, although I'm so excited for the next book we're reading. So
I am super excited for it as well. Oh, I'm not. Mum's the word, Toots. Mum's the word.
Just kidding. We're going to spread the word. That almost took a turn. We're gonna spread the word because I want anyone and everyone involved in book club, leveling up, connecting with people who want to level up. So we'll be finishing this book in total, not next week, but the following. Yolanda, the book is called The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
So that's what you guys are talking about now.
Correct.
That's not the new book. Now, I know what the new book is, and it is probably, I read 54 books last year. And I would dare say, gosh, Carlin, I would put it in the top 2 of my favorite books that I read all year long. And I didn't read it until this year. But out of all the books I read last year, to include the ones this year, I think that's got to be in the top 2. This book that you guys are going to start for book club.
You know, I'm pretty patient with, or pretty flexible with like the books that I'm willing to put in my top 5. But I will say this is hands down number 1 book I have read since Twilight. That was like
I don't know if you increased your credibility with that statement or if you just diminished everything about what you said before saying book club and Twilight.
No, Twilight sucked. But I read that in 8th grade. So since all of the books I have read since 8th grade, and I read a lot of books, this is hands down the best book I have ever read.
Facebook user says, is the book similar to Do the Impossible by Jason Drees or The Secret?
It's should I just say it?
No, don't say it. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's similar to either one of those. I think it is. I think it's bigger than both of those.
It's in a league of its own. It really truly is in a league of its own. And if you want to get a grasp on philosophy, personal development, and just kind of broadening your perspective on life, really, honestly, those are the categories I would morph this book into.
100%. I would absolutely agree. I think you summed it up best. It is really a book that's a league of its own. Great movie, by the way. That's a league of their own, but no, it is not worthy. We can't give away the author because then I think I mean that pretty much narrows it down. It's not J.K. Rowling, but this is really, really good. And so Carlin, for everybody who's wanting to join in on this, increase their net worth, increase the way that they think, increase the systems they put into place, increase their goals. In order to get around this and start growing, when are you guys having book club? Where can they meet? How do they show up? How do they get in here?
So we've got a link for it. My dear Haley has actually created the link. So if you would like it, we will send it to you. Get registered. Book club is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you who speak other time zones, that's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard.
And that's 4 p.m. in Alaska.
4 p.m. Alaska. I think
there's a few
2
people that are
Hawaii.
Here. Okay, you guys, Haley Kretschmar is on our team. Her and Carlin are running book club. If you guys would love the link, if you guys are on Facebook and you're watching it in the Facebook group where Haley's watching it, go ahead and shoot Haley a DM or let her know in the comments if you guys want the link. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can reach out to Haley or Carlin, and they can get you guys the link for book club. And that's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, right?
Correct. It's bi-weekly, so our next book club meeting after tonight will be 2 weeks from now.
Perfect. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for this book. I read it in little over 3 hours in one day. I think this was, when was this, Monday or Tuesday? I read the whole thing in one day, and it was phenomenal. I started reading it again. So I'll have read it twice this week. It is that freaking good, guys.
Jesse, I feel like we should just tell him, because I want him to be able to get this book by the time we start it.
But are you guys starting it tonight, or are you wrapping up your other book?
We are halfway through this book. So next book club, we will be finishing The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And next book club, we will be starting this book.
But you're announcing next week's books tonight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Guys, tune in and join in on the fun. You guys are going to not want to miss this book. I promise you, this book will drastically increase and elevate the way that you see things, the way that you see yourself, the way that you see others, the way that you handle yourself. It's definitely been something that has been a big influence on me for sure, especially this week. So I'm really excited. I'm glad that you guys are doing that one for book club. It'll be a great one.
I'm tickled pink, but needless to say, moving forward.
Well, we started our cohort officially last week. We kicked everything off, and everybody going through the Growth Co mentorship right now, we are helping them build this blueprint that helped me get where I am right now, which, if you guys don't know, it was last year. I ended up, my partner Chris and I ended up dissolving our entire wholesaling business, and we went all in on buy and hold. And for the longest time, I found myself wholesaling because that's what I thought I needed to do. How many of you guys got into real estate because you wanted to own properties, you wanted to start creating wealth and generating wealth? And when you get under this umbrella of real estate, everybody's like, hey, if you don't have any money, you don't have any relationships, you don't have insert whatever, then start out wholesaling. And that's exactly what I did. I was like, dude, I'm okay. That makes sense. I guess I'm going to start out building a wholesaling business. And one of the things that I've learned over the course of my years of doing this is how many people, including myself, was focusing on the process of doing something. I'll get caught up in this hamster wheel of focusing on the process. Like when you start out wholesaling, it's like, oh, well, I need to know what CRM I'm going to use. I need to know what list I'm going to skip trace. I got to know what dialer I'm using. I got to figure out how often are you guys following up? How often are you guys going through new lists? What market are you guys working in? And I would start asking myself these questions, Carlin, and it was just like month after month after month after month after month after month after month of just staying on that hamster wheel trying to figure this stuff out. And as I've progressed my knowledge, my efficiency, and just my natural ability as a CEO and as a leader, and increasing my mindset and all that kind of stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, we hit a point last year. Now, if you guys don't know, Alaska summers are so stinking short. They're like 3 months long. We start going camping the end of May or Memorial Day weekend is when everybody kind of starts doing like summer stuff up here. And there's still snow all over the place. There's still snow all over the mountain. You go camping like you're driving in snow. And we camp from that until about September. So you don't really have this really big window. So everybody spends all winter long like working their tail off because the summers are amazing. They really are. Those 3 months are what keep people in Alaska all year long. It's dark, it's cold, but gosh dang it. Those summers, Carlin, like it's sunny out all night long. You go dirt biking, you go four-wheeling, we go fishing, we go do all the things, and it's absolutely amazing. So the last couple years, every summer I take my family out and we go camping and we go fishing and go do all the thing. But the last few years, specifically I've been wholesaling for 4.5 years now. And when we would go camping, Carlin, it was my wife and kids that was going out fishing. It was my wife and kids that was going out hiking and doing the things. I ended up turning my camper into like basically a mobile office, and it was terrible. While they were out doing the things, I was still stuck overseeing and talking to sellers and overseeing like the acquisition side of it. And then if I had issues with, if my acquisitions team was sick, or if they were traveling, or if they were going on vacation, or they couldn't make it in to follow up like they needed to, then obviously I had to step in and do all those things. And gosh dang it, the last few summers has just been terrible. I haven't been able to get out and do the things that I want to do. It's just been a consistent grind. And so last year we had this epiphany, and we were like, you know what? I'm done wholesaling. We got into real estate because we wanted to buy properties. And so we dissolved our acquisitions team. We dissolved our dispositions team. We even got rid of our CRM that contained several thousand leads. And we just cut it off. We just walked away from it. Now, yeah, we probably could have done something and tried to figure out how to make some kind of money or something on it. But one thing that I've learned is you can't be half in, you can't be half out. You can't say, hey, I'm going to go buy properties, but at the same time, I'm going to hold on to these leads and maybe try to figure out some way to squeeze a few bucks out of them, whether I give them to somebody else or the most valuable commodity that we have is our time. So I knew that if I wanted to go out and buy as many properties as I could, then I had to be all in on that one thing. And Carlin, we ended up dissolving everything, and in a matter of less than 12 weeks. So in fourth quarter of 2023 alone, we made a goal of purchasing 50 doors. We ended up buying 64. Those 64 doors are a combination of LTR, MTR, and pad splits. We paid ourselves to purchase every single property. We rehired internally. We restructured the way that we systematized, the way that we operated. And in 10 weeks, those properties, we created enough momentum in our business where those properties net us $50,000 a month. Jeez. So we took that blueprint, and this is what we're going through with our clients right now. We just started last week. Today is week 1. And they've already got, they're already, for week 1, they're already revamping their entire business. They're already rehiring and getting the right people in here to streamline everything so that they're not wearing all the hats. They're not overseeing all things. They're not doing all the things. They're not skip tracing lists. They're not calling sellers. They're not overseeing an acquisitions team. It's all about building the path of least resistance. And I'm really excited to see what they end up doing even in the next couple weeks. It's going to be really amazing. So if you guys are interested in getting more information or joining the next cohort, reach out, shoot me or Carlin a PM, or just DM us the word growth. And there's absolutely zero pressure. But if this is something you guys are wanting to get more information on and see if this would be a good fit for you, Carlin and I we'd love to have a conversation with you and just see where you are, answer any questions that you guys have. We are an open book. There is no secret here. One of the things that we've done to help these individuals, all you guys, everybody, through the that helps kind of complement our mission and what it is we're trying to help people doing is providing valuable information through this podcast. This podcast is something that complements our mentorship and our mission and what we're trying to do here. I think there's just so many gurus out there that inevitably keep so many people on this hamster wheel of calling. You got to comp, you got to call, you got to comp, you got to call, you got to do the thing. And it's like, man, how do we ever scale? How do I leave my W-2? How do I actually generate and start buying properties? How do I accumulate wealth if I'm on this hamster or I'm on this train of just consistently doing the thing that I don't want to be doing? Now, if you guys want to be wholesaling, that's great. That's amazing. I'm not dissing or saying it. I work with so many stinking wholesalers. I love wholesalers. Wholesaling is amazing. It's an amazing business model. But if that's not the reason that you got into real estate, then shoot myself or Carlin a DM. We'd love to hear what you have going on to see how we can help you guys in any way, shape, or form. Now, I started getting into this while I was in the military. I have been doing this. I ended up leaving the military after 15 years. And while I was in the military, I was an instructor. So the Air Force paid for me to go down to Texas and to learn how to be a professional instructor and coach and mentor. As a matter of fact, they even taught me how to professionally write curriculum and write curriculum, construct it in a way that maximizes the students' learning potential. So I really got to go through a lot of different training and really understand how people learn and how to maximize that. And I was able to take a lot of that. Well, actually, not even a lot of that, all of that into the Growth Co. and our mentorship and what we're doing right now. It is so stinking structured. And I've met so many amazing individuals. And one of those individuals that I used to work with has been such a leader in my life. He's been such an inspiration. And he is still serving in the Air Force right now. And it's been neat to have him alongside of me and be able to bring him on this journey with me. And so with what Carlin and I want to go over with you guys today, we wanted to be able to bring in somebody else who really doesn't know too much about real estate and share some of the things that he's learning and what he's kind of going through and how he's kind of helping to build his mindset and how being intentional with his day and the information and the people that he's surrounding himself with is affecting him and his goals and his aspirations and what he's wanted to do. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Brandon Vesper.
You are one hell of a hype man.
Dude, I should have like went to the WWE or something. Instead, Carlin and I decided to start a podcast. It's like and maybe go to the WWE and announce people, or maybe go to the UFC. I think Joe Rogan's not going to be doing that forever, but we decided to start a podcast instead. So welcome, brother, dude. Thank you for being here, man. You look fantastic.
I feel overdressed. I feel like I should be.
You feel overdressed?
Yeah, I feel like I should be wearing a green bikini from Borat.
We're saving that for WWE.
I guess that is one way.
I love that, brother. I love that. We'll have to do like instead of green, maybe it's black with like the blue, the Growth Co. blue or something.
There we go.
We'll have some Growth Co. mankinis. Would anybody buy a Growth Co. mankini? You know what I love about the band Kiss, by the way, is Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are like expert in like business. They have like Kiss caskets. They have Kiss condoms. They've got Kiss everything, man. Maybe we need to get some Growth Co. mankinis. We'll get some Growth Co. condoms. We'll have fun with it, man. It'll be great.
Is this that sketch from a few weeks ago?
Dude, I wish I knew who this was. I wish I knew who we were talking to. This Facebook user says, "I'll take two." Oh my goodness, I love it. Real quick, Facebook user, and if there's any other Facebook users out there, just so you guys know, you guys are probably watching this live inside of one of the Facebook groups. And if you go right above where the video is being streamed, there's like a description. And at the bottom of that description, there's a link. And it says something to the tune of, click this link to share your name with StreamYard. And then, I don't know why it's weird, but that's what you got to do for us to be able to see your name. I know you can see it on your end. We just can't see it on our end unless you guys do that. Chris Dickerson says 100%. Oh, it's Jim. Jim, bro, I love you, man. Thank you for being here, dude. Thank you. So, Brandon, for the guys and gals who don't know you, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. This is the first time we've had you on this podcast, man, and I'm glad we were able to do this. So, thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. So a little bit of background. I have been in the Air Force for 12 years now, going on 13.
Whoop, whoop.
Me
thank
and
you for your
Jesse. Oh, thank you for yours. So in 2019, me and Jesse were instructors together. And honestly, it's been one heck of a story ever since. That's to say the least. So Jesse and I we've been friends, colleagues, business partners for the last probably 4 years. And I was there when he was first starting out getting involved in real estate. So it went from him being insanely busy to all of a sudden he's still busy with this new business model, but I feel like I can talk to him more now. But enough about him as of right now. But I have started my own personal growth journey right now, and it's all thanks to Jesse, to where I went from time and life just flowing by to all of a sudden I feel like I have all the time in the world. Like I told him a few weeks ago, the last 2 months have been the longest months in my life for a good reason. And it's all about being intentional with my days. I've gotten into reading. Who would have thought I would get into reading?
I thought the same thing, man. When I first started getting into this, I was like, man, all these guys are reading. I don't want to read. I need to be out here calling sellers and doing, who's got time to read? That's not a money-making activity.
Dude, I mean, just getting in those books, though, has completely changed my life. And like even driving to work, it's an hour drive, and I don't even listen to music anymore. I listen to audiobooks. Really? I have finished 2 15-hour audiobooks each, so 30 hours total.
Holy crap.
6 days.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, bro.
In 6 days.
My man.
I'm at the gym. When I'm at the gym working out, I'm listening to an audiobook most of the time. Driving, I mean, anything. So my kids are probably tired of hearing about it, but I'm the one driving. So another thing that has really taught me of being more intentional is journaling.
Ooh.
Journaling?
Journaling.
Oh my gosh, Carla's got heart pop out. What are those?
You're telling
heart
me
skipping a beat now.
I journal now. It's so weird. Again, one of those things I never thought I'd be doing at 30 years old. I hit 30 and all of a sudden it was like, oh, it's time to grow up now. But so journaling every morning, I wake up. I don't start my audio. Oh, I don't start my audiobooks right away. But first thing in the morning, I either pull it out on my phone with a new journal app because I'm an iPhone user, or I write it down in a notes app or in my actual journal. And I go through and I decide, what do I want to do today? Or I do it the night prior sometimes. I decide, okay, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z throughout today. So going to the gym, I've been meaning to get back on track with that for such a long time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I've missed a day in the last 2 months.
Is that right? Really?
Doing some sort of activity. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know me, I am a big gym advocate, all about nutrition and fitness, but I was in a slump for a long time, and just journaling and holding myself accountable, because the things I write in the beginning of the day, I have to read them again at the end of the day, and I treat it just like a checklist. I'm like, okay, well, did I wake up and spend time with my kids? Yes. Did I read or listen to at least 20 minutes of a book today? 4x, 10x that. Did I go to the gym and nail my program? Damn right I did. And it's freed up my mind. Being able to hold myself accountable that way.
Dude, I love that one of the things that, and Carlin knows this, I'm such a big fan of checklists, and I know it's something that's just so simple, and a lot of people really don't think about it. But being able to do exactly what you just did, like one thing that I've learned, and you know this as well, you know this better than anybody, Brandon, consistency will outperform talent any given day of the week. There are things that come up in our businesses. There are things that we should be doing every single day. And we know we should be doing. We've got them up here. We know what the hell we need to do. And we tend to just keep them up here in our mind because we think, oh, man, I don't need this. And then you forget it. And then you're not consistent. And then you miss the day. It could be intentional. Could be by accident. And Brandon, I love the fact that you brought up a checklist, because for me, at least, I mean, I joined the military. I joined the Air Force when I was 18 years old. And the military, the thing that I love about the military, the reason why we have the world's greatest Air Force is because of checklists.
That is 100%
Dude,
true.
Success leaves clues, bro. And the fact that you can take the United States Air Force, you can take anybody from anywhere in the world and bring everybody, fly everybody from the world. Doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter if they grew up rich, if they grew up poor. It doesn't matter what part of the country they grew up, what values, morals, ethics, like nothing matters. You take anybody from anywhere in the world, fly them into San Antonio to Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, put them through 8.5-week boot camp, and take anybody, their mindset, issues, whatever. None of that matters. Take everybody. You put everybody on the same playing field when they get off that bus at Lackland Air Force Base to start basic military training, and they go through that for 8.5 weeks. They break everybody down, and they build everybody back up. Everybody graduates 8.5 weeks later with the exact same standards. And when you're talking about accountability, that's what everything comes down to, man. It doesn't matter how big your freaking goals are. It doesn't matter if you tell somebody, hey, I want to go make $1 million this year, or I want to make $50,000 this year. Because the size of your goals don't matter. You don't rise to your goals. You don't just set this big goal and then all of a sudden you freaking rise to it. And then it's like, hey, I achieved it. That's not at all what happens. You fall to the freaking standards and things, systems that you've put in place, and accountability is a major part of that. And I love the fact that you just, like, the military does such a great job of simplifying things. I mean, in the Air Force, we even take it a step further. If there's anybody in the Army or prior Army who's going to hear this, one of the things that you'll hear a lot in the Air Force anyway is when we break something down to a point where you can't F it up, you can't get it wrong. Anybody and everybody can understand what it is we're talking about.
I know
there's a term for that. Brandon, what is that term?
We Army proofed it.
We Army proofed it. Even the Army knows what we're talking about. And it's such a freaking great way to operate, dude. I mean, that's the exact reason why we have the world's greatest Air Force, is because it's those little things that snowball and they compound. And if you do all the little things right, which is what the Air Force focuses on, is all the little things. And because they can get anybody everywhere in the world, regardless of their experience, to come in here and do every single little thing, it compounds into this big thing where we have the world's greatest Air Force. And I love the fact that you brought that up. It stuck out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like let me kind of hit on this for a second, because checklist, I mean, that's how I operate. That's how I have an app. Guys, I have no affiliation with this app. This is like, there's no affiliate or anything going on. But let me share with you guys something that has absolutely changed my life. And I mean that. I'm not just saying this, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you can put yourself in a position where you're doing every single little thing, you're doing all the small things, you are constantly hitting on it, you will be successful. There's this app. It's called Todoist, not to do list, to do IST. Download it. Download it right now while we're on this live. This app is called Todoist. And this is great because you can set, basically it works like a checklist. You can set every single little thing that you have to do. You can set reoccurring meetings that you're going to have Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. You can set your gym workout. You can set getting in your 20 minutes of reading for the day. That's what I do. I've got reading on there throughout the day. Like, I have my team in a lot of my businesses will ask me, hey, did this come through? Did this come through? And I'll have to like send screenshots. It's like, hey, check this email. See this? Did you see this come in? Did you see this person was needing this? And so I've got, like, my phone gets over flooded with screenshots. So I have to add a reminder on my checklist to delete screenshots at the end of the day. And it works out so stinking great. Now, this app, what I want you guys to do is not only download this app, because now you've got to remember to go into the app every single day or every single hour to go in and check what you have next. So it's not enough just to have the app. Let's army proof this a little bit more so there's a little bit more accountability. Turn this app now into a widget. For those of you guys who don't know what a widget is, basically you get to take, when you open that app up and you see your entire checklist right there for the day, you get to take that checklist. A widget allows you to take that checklist and basically put it on your home screen. So anytime you unlock your phone to get on social media, to go through Facebook, anytime you unlock your phone to send a text message, the first thing that you see, whether you want to or not, is that checklist of what you have to do for the day. So Brandon, thank you for sharing that, because I think that's something that so many people overlook. We have all these things that we have to do every day, and it's so easy to say, oh, I'll remember that. Oh, I'll get to that. Oh, I'll blah, 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 blah. Having that checklist ensures that the thing gets done. Even posting on social media. How many of us get so busy that we just don't, we forget to even consistently post on social media? How else do you make it in this business? How do you build relationships if you're not sharing with everybody on social media what it is that you're doing, or what it is that you're wanting to do, or the things that you're learning, or the relationship that you just built? I don't know that there's really a better way to expedite a business than leveraging social media. So if that's not something that you are taking advantage of, then make sure that you have that on your checklist. Make sure you have that on that app. It's the little things that compound. Carlin, what are some of the things that... What's that?
It's a one step at a time.
Dude, that's it, bro. That's it. Jeff McGrew. Dude, thank you for being here, Jeff. I love it. If you guys don't know Jeff McGrew, Jeff is buying a ton of properties. So if you need a buyer, real quick, just want to put that out there, reach out to Jeff. Jeff is buying, for anybody who's wholesaling. Jeff says, this is a game changer for your day-to-day tasks and will keep you accountable to your priority goals for the day. And watching your list get shorter and shorter through the day is an incredible way to see your accomplishments. Dude, I 100% agree, man. Like being able to go in and check, like I have, like I've got my morning prayers on there. I've got my book. I've got the gym. Like, dude, I got a stack of like 10 things that have to be accomplished within the first like hour of me getting up. And I need to make sure, with how busy I am and with how many other people depend on me, that I'm making time for all the little things in there as well. Carlin, what are some of the things that you do to hold yourself accountable, and how has that system, right? Because we fall to our systems, fall to the level of our systems. How has that system that you've put into place helped you increase and get you closer to your goals and cause more and more momentum in your life and in your business? And as we know, like there isn't really a balance, but how has being accountable in the system that you have devised helped you to integrate family, friends, relationships, dinners, vacations, business, all of that?
I mean, I'll start off with saying I'd agree with Brandon that, like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your journal is your best accountability partner, because you're really holding yourself to your own standards. And if you let it slip, then your journal's a nice slap in the face to be like, oh, look, you didn't cross this off today. But aside from your journal, I would say one of the most important things that you can have in your life is people who are going to hold you accountable. Brandon, you, my husband, James, Haley, the other James, like all people who are like, hey, Carlin, you said you were going to get this done. What happened? And I think the important thing to remember in this aspect is when you have people in your life that are willing to hold you accountable, the accountability is simply accountability, because a lot of the times we take it as a personal attack. And when we take it as a personal attack, it doesn't benefit us. We don't learn from it. We don't progress. We get stuck in our feelings, get wrapped up in our heads. And so surrounding myself with people who are willing to hold me accountable and be constructive about the way they approach it has been one of the biggest game changers I have experienced in my life next to journaling.
What are some of the things that you've done? Because it's kind of human nature. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's hard to get feedback, and it's hard to hear somebody call you on your shit. And I think about times, even in the military, people called me on my shit. In my business, people called me on my shit. What are some of the things that has helped you kind of reframe what's actually going on, so you approach that situation in an effective manner?
I think the first thing I've learned is when you're getting feedback, sit down, shut up, and don't say anything. Because you're gonna get stuck in. No, hear me out. Here's why.
Okay.
Because most of the time, this is how I got to this point. Most of the time, I'm an emotionally responsive person. Jesse is my witness. I'm not a big fan of emotions, but they are there. And when people are giving us feedback, the first thing we want to do is defend ourselves. Hey, Carlin, well, I didn't do that because here's what my kids were doing this, and but I also had to do that. Stop. Just stop. Listen to what they're saying and allow yourself to process it. If you have to go write it down, go get your handy dandy notebook. That's what it's for. But take the time to learn how to separate the emotional response from the logical response. Because in business, it's not emotion, it's logic. So when we have someone giving us feedback, we want to go into defense mode because our brain's like, oh, they're angry with me. They're being a jerk. And I can't believe they say that. I need to defend myself right now. They're not being a dick. They're not being mean. They're not trying to be hurtful. They're saying, hey, this email was sent and it got overlooked. Hey, we needed to have this done and this done and this done. But this got overlooked. This was a priority. What happened? And when you take a step back, you can say, you know what? I actually didn't put that on my to-do list for the day. I'm sorry, I messed up. I'll make sure that next time I'm planning my day, I take the time to prioritize what other people need me to do. So being able to separate your emotions is, you really honestly just have to be quiet for a second and let your brain process everything.
I think thank you for sharing that. I think that is one of the most CEO moves that anybody could do. I heard Mel Robbins talk about one time, and we kind of actually touched on this last night during our mentorship. A lot of people, they put themselves in a position where they act according to the person that they think they are right now. And how fast would things change your thoughts, your behavior, your emotions? How fast would this person change if you just put yourself into the future version of yourself? If you take who you are right now, take any circumstance that has kind of knocked you off your chair a little bit. Maybe that's feedback. Maybe that's a deal that's gone bad. And think about how you handled that. Think about what kind of feedback either life gave you or somebody gave you because of an instance, and how you reacted to that. And then I want you to think about, how do you see the billionaire version of you? And how do you see them acting? How do they take that feedback? And I love what you said there, just like sit down, shut up, and listen. Because that's such a CEO move. I even heard Jeff Bezos one time talk about how he is, and I think Jonathan actually brought this up last night as well. How Jeff Bezos was like basically the last guy to even say anything during their company meetings, just to make sure, for one, to make sure that he gathers all the information, that he hears the good and the bad. He's getting feedback. With that feedback, he knows how to hold these individuals accountable. But at the same time, if you are the last one to talk, then you're not preemptively inserting your biases into a lot of the things that need to be discussed. And so just during those feedback sessions, especially in the realm of accountability, I think that was well said. I love the fact that you pointed out that, hey, it's really this simple. There's more to it. But man, just what you would learn if you just sit down, shut up and listen, and you're intentional with this information, you take the time to process it and to digest it and to control your emotions around it. Like, how much faster could you grow? How much faster could you do something to actually start seeing the results that you're wanting to? So I love that you shared that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I think we need to put that on a t-shirt.
Sit down, shut up, and listen.
Yep.
It's all the parents will be buying that one, man. I'll take 2.
I mean, it's so true, though. I mean, even so, I'm an emotional guy. I'll admit it, and especially with my kids, it was hard to go through. Like, I have anger issues, and it's hard to go through and to learn how to process through those anger issues. Not just with my kids, but in general, even getting feedback. Mm-hmm. The first thing I had to do was to just stop, take a deep breath, and shut up for a little bit. And that's how I've had to change.
It's part of the systems, right? It's putting those systems in place. That's one of my favorite quotes. I've shared this before. One of my favorite quotes of all time is from Warren Buffett. And he says, if you can't control your emotions, then you can't control your money. And I've said this before. One of the first things that I think of when I hear that quote is everybody. How many people have you heard are like, man, I'm going to win the lottery? Like, each time the lottery gets up to just astronomical heights, and then everybody and their mom is buying lottery tickets. Everybody's going in on stuff. But let's take the financial education out of the equation for a second. Let's pretend that knowing even what to do with that money is irrelevant in this scenario. Ooh, this is a good one too. I love this. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your life. Oh my gosh. Ooh. That needs to go on a t-shirt. I wish I knew who was this. Who's the Facebook user that said this? This is so good. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. My goodness.
Sounds like we have 2 t-shirt ideas coming out.
we need to figure out how to put this on a mankini.
These are, you know what? Ask Alex, Jesse. Ask Alex if she can start making us some company shirts. Sit down, shut up, listen. Growth Co.
Oh, I love that.
If you can't control your emotions, can't control your life. Growth
Shannon,
Co.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I think that is such a so Shannon, she said, how do I get my name to show up? So right above, I'm assuming you're watching this in probably one of the Facebook groups we're streaming in. So right above where it's streaming, there's a description right above the video. And if you scroll down to the bottom of that description, there's a link. There's like a StreamYard link, and it says something to the effect of, click this link to allow Facebook access to share my name on StreamYard, or something to that effect. But you just click that link and hit approve, and then your name will show up here. But no, thank you, Shannon. I absolutely love what you said here. Shannon's absolutely right. That's okay. No, you can do this from an iPhone. It's just where you're streaming, there's a description right above the video. You just hit the link in that description, and
the 3 dots.
You'll be able to share your name. But let's take the financial literacy out of that equation for a second. Let's say the average person does win $100 million. Think of the emotions that just come from that right there. What type of financial decisions come from those types of emotions? I'll even take it a step further real quick. It's interesting that most people think that they can even handle that type of money. Let's take even know what to do with it out of the equation, man. Like, what are you going to do? Like, what type are you somebody that can handle the anxiety that comes from having that kind of money? The pressure, the societal pressure that comes from having that kind of money, the news, the neighbors, your family, people that think that, hey, because we're friends or because you're my brother or you're my sister or whoever, I'm your parents, that think that they are somehow entitled to that money. Like, are you somebody that can even handle that type of pressure emotionally? So I love what both of you are saying, man. Your emotions have so much to do with it. Your emotions are play so much into this game beyond just being able to contain yourself, man, to be able to accept feedback and to grow and to understand and to be able to make sound decisions. I feel like I learned more and more of what Warren Buffett meant when he said that every single day. And emotions is such a huge part of that equation to success and wealth and health.
I got $100 from my grandma. Perfect example. Grandma sent me some birthday money.
Nice.
James and I know, right? James and I are planning a family trip because I'm the best man in a wedding. Brandon's face was gold on that one. Like, what?
Well, my one question was, how are you going to get anywhere with $100 these days?
Here, it all ties together, okay? But I swear, I'm going somewhere with this. So we're at the fish store yesterday. Anyone who knows me and James knows that we have a lot of saltwater fish tanks. And anyone who knows that saltwater fish are not cheap. And so I'm standing in the fish store and I looked at a fish I wanted, and I was like, man, I really want that. My other one died. So sad. Really upset about it. I just want that fish. And James looked at me because he heard me whispering to myself, me being the crazy that I am. I was like, I want the fish, but I need to save the money. I want the fish, but I need to save the money. I want the fish, but I need to save the money. And he looked at me, he's like, what are you doing? It's like making responsible decisions right now. And it's amazing that, like, there's the logical side, even just with $100, that money is still money. You still have the emotion with it. You're like, oh, I could spend this on a fish. I could spend this on some Pop Rocks or something. I don't know what people spend their money on. But separating that emotion from just the logic, hey, I need to save this money because we're going on a family trip, even though it's not going to get me to Florida, it still contributes to the family trip. Okay, so I need to save that money because that is the responsible thing to do. The emotional side of my brain is like, just get the fish.
That's such a perfect example. That reminds me of a quote from Tony Robbins. I actually shared it on my Facebook a little earlier this morning, but that ties in so well with, he said, people don't experience life. People experience the life they focus on. Brandon, when you hear that, what comes to mind for you?
Repeat it one more time.
And guys, let me know in the comments as well. Like, I'd love to kind of make this question as much of a two-way question as we can while we're streaming. But I'm going to repeat that again. People don't experience life. They experience the life they focus on. So I'll share some of my thoughts real quick, and then Brandon, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and then I'd love to hear some of the thoughts that you guys have in the comments. When you focus on, I understand so much clearer, as opposed to when I was starting out, why people are always talking about like being in the present as an example, or why a lot of successful and rich people focus on abundance or happiness and gratitude and all these things. Because in order to create the type of life that they want, where they're surrounded by health and wealth and happiness, and be able to spend time with their kids and their families, and to do the things, to go on camping trips and actually be present. In order to do and have all those things, then that's the type of life that you have to focus on. You have to wake up every single day and be intentional and disciplined with exercising the type of actions that correlate with the type of life that you want to live. And when you choose to see life through that lens, and I think you start to see those opportunities. When you focus on a happy life, then that's what you see. That's the life that you experience. You don't just go through life. When you go through life focusing on being happy or having a happy experience, you notice those things. And the things that would typically piss you off or frustrate you or upset you, you don't see. Maybe you've noticed, maybe you guys know somebody who is like, typically they're just always negative. They're such a sourpuss to be around. It's the same thing. I remember there was somebody discussing during the pandemic. This is in 2020. There was all sorts of statistics and things going around of what caused COVID, how people are getting COVID. And there was this thing I saw on social media. I actually went and tried it, and it was really interesting. But you could plug into Google. I'm trying to think of a specific instance so I can give you guys. It was something along the lines of how many people from COVID are dying. It was something like, is it true that 1,700 people are dying from COVID in Idaho in Bonneville County every single day? And then you put that into Google, and you'll find a shit ton of information supporting that claim. Or conversely, if you type into Google, is it true that there's less than 0.1% of 0.1% of 0.1% dying from COVID in Bonneville County, Idaho every single day? And then you'll find all of these articles and websites and information supporting why that is true. And so that's what I think of when I hear that quote where Tony said, you don't experience life, you experience the life that you focus on. And for me, that's what that means to me. And I kind of want to tie this into accountability here for a second, but Brandon, what is that for you? Or is there any truth to that you've noticed throughout your life? And it's kind of interesting because you're walking this line right now. I love being able to live vicariously through you, because you're where I was and you're on this journey on where I'm headed with me. And it's just neat to be able to, like, you're not out of the military or anything. You're still in it. And I remember when I was in the military, like, there was a lot of people that we worked with, man, that was like extremely negative, and it was just not a conducive environment that was complementary of what I was trying to do. And so you're kind of in this realm right now where you're still in the military. And I know there's a lot of negativity in the middle. Like, it's almost standard to criticize, condemn, complain. You bitch about the previous work, the previous shift. You get in on day shift and you're bitching about all the work that nights did. They didn't push the aircraft forward. They didn't, now maintenance is behind. They didn't do this. They did shoddy work here. They didn't document this. And it's just customary to be in that kind of environment where you're just bitching and complaining all the freaking time. But then at the same time, you're over here trying to build this other side of your life where it's abundant. and it's loving and it's full of life and energy and money and wonderful relationships. You're kind of in this thing right now. So I love to live vicariously through you as you're on this journey.
So honestly, I think I'm in the exact same spot you were when you first started. Same year, time frame, everything. Because you were done at 15, right?
Yeah, 3
Yeah.
months shy of 15.
So I think I'm literally almost in the exact same spot you were. But so I mean, it's hard. It's so difficult to go to work and people are complaining about the simplest things. And I mean, even something simple like, oh, well, we have to do this now because this person said we have to. Just complaining about it. I'm like, what's the point? It's all about how you frame, and the perception is everything. Just like a Facebook user said, perception is everything. So if you're constantly going through and it's like, oh, well, this task is stupid, or these people suck, or this experience was terrible, that's how your life is going to be. You're going to think everything sucks. It's going to be the opposite of what people see on social media today. Because everybody they don't post bad things on social media.
Right.
When have you been scrolling through and you see, oh, well, guys, I stubbed my toe today. I couldn't go to the gym, or I blew my diet, so I couldn't go do this. You're
Right.
not seeing that type of stuff. You're seeing what they want you to see, which is the gold standard.
Right.
They're showing you the success, and having that type of perception is causing people to think that they can't fail. That you have to be perfect 100% of the time. But you can't. You have to fail forward. So it's all about framing, and certain things have happened since I started this journey to where I would have just been like, oh, well, this sucks. This is dumb. I hate it. I'm so over this. But I've been able to approach those situations and those scenarios from different perspectives. Now that I've unlocked my mind, I've taken the chains off.
Isn't that crazy, man? Like, you're going through this journey yourself. You're learning so much about your thoughts, your minds, your actions, your emotions, your behaviors. And at first, before you start going on this, you hear people like David Goggins or Gandhi or so many people who like spent so much time talking about their thoughts or their mind. And it's interesting. It's very transformative, and it explains so much. How all of our actions, our accountability, the people that we surround ourselves with, the information that we download, how all of it's tied into your goals, your actions, your money, everything, man. Like, you take a second to pause and think about where you are in your life right now, the house that you live in, the cars that you drive, the area that you live in, the people that you associate with, the money in your bank account. And all of those things are a culmination. They're an average of the way that you think right now. They're an average of the decisions that you make. You made those decisions that have put you in this position right now. And when I say it, I don't mean it like you're in a bad position. And of course, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to everybody here. Like, the situation you're in right now, I'm not saying it like you're in some kind of bad position. In order for us to make a change, you have to understand what's going on. You have to be willing to accept accountability for the choices that you've made. But when you understand what's going on in the world, when you understand how your brain thinks, how you process information, how all of that correlates with your emotions, one of the things that I talk about a lot with our clients is how events that happen in our life, they are neither positive nor negative. When you get in a car wreck, that is just an event. It's neither positive nor negative. When you broke your leg skiing, That's just an event. It's neither positive nor negative. When somebody cuts you off in traffic, that is just a life event. When your trampoline ends up on top of your roof, that's neither positive nor negative. It's just a life event. The way that you interpret that event determines whether or not you see it as positive or negative. When you see that event, when a deal goes wrong, and the way that you understand what's going on with that deal determines whether or not it's positive or negative. And depending on your interpretation of that life event is going to drive how you feel about it. It's going to drive your emotion. Your emotion is going to determine the positive or negative about that whole thing. Now, your thoughts, the way that you perceive this, stay with me here for a second. The way that you perceive this event, the way that you think about it, the way that you understand it is going to drive your emotion. You're going to be like, oh, this guy is cool, or hey, this guy is a jackass and I hate him and he cut me off and blah, 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 blah. So then because of that, your interpretation of that event and because your emotion behind it, that's going to determine the action that you then take. If anybody has ever been cut off in traffic, your blood is boiling, your heart is pumping, you're pissed off, you're frustrated, you're upset, you're mad. If you're like my wife, you're honking the horn. Maybe you're giving a couple choice finger gestures.
Pinkies up.
Pinkies up. But what if that individual's wife in the front seat was in labor and they were on their way to the hospital? It's the same event.
100%.
But your interpretation of it is going to drive how you feel about it. How you feel about it is going to drive the action that you take. And that's true for everything in your business. When somebody gives you feedback, when somebody holds you accountable, the way that you choose to interpret your actions that you're getting feedback on, that you're being held accountable for, is going to determine the action then you then take. And that action is going to be part of the average of choices that you made that day. That's going to determine the money in your account, the relationships that you have, the house that you live in. We're all trying to get to this point where we get to live life on our terms and not where money says that we have to. You don't get to that point if you don't understand these things first. I know we've gone over an hour now. That's all I've got for you guys. Carlin, do you have anything for everybody in closing before we hop off and close this out?
Yes, as you were talking with the perception of reality, I have a friend who passed away recently, but he used to say, and it always got me because I'd sit there and I'd think about it, and unbeknownst, I do have a pool to get off my roof today, actually. Thank you, wind. I'll send pictures, don't worry. But he used to say, stop taking life so seriously. It's not like you're going to get out alive. And that quote, whenever someone cuts me off or my pool ends up on the roof or something like that, like, it just I just kind of have to giggle at it now. I'm just like, I wonder how I'm going to get that down. Like, it's neither positive nor negative. It just is. So.
That's deep. It's true, though.
Thank you, Jim.
Deep.
Love you, brother. Thank you for being here, man.
It is. Yeah, it's really something to think about. Stop taking life so seriously. You're not going to get out alive.
I love that. There's another t-shirt idea. I hope you're writing this down. It's a good thing we got this recorded. Brandon, what do you got for everybody in closing, man? Any final thoughts?
I guess to the vehicle situation you were talking earlier. I mean, one way I've approached all situations is like, say I got into a car accident and my vehicle's totaled. I get to get a new vehicle. I get to go through the process of buying a new vehicle. And
Brandon's going to be a minivan guy.
I already have one.
Oh,
yes!
I'm getting rid of it soon, but I already have one.
What kind is it? I'm gonna buy it from you.
Non-sponsored.
No, never mind.
But it's like you just have to stop, shut up, and approach the situation to where it makes the most sense for you.
Absolutely.
And just by doing that, you take one lock off your mind, and it removes the weight.
Sit down. I guess this whole podcast can just be summed up by sit down, shut up, and listen.
We should be renaming the podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on. Brandon, I appreciate you, brother. I love you. Thank you for jumping on with us. Thank you for being our guest. Thank you for your friendship, your brotherhood. Thank you for your service, man. I hope you have an awesome weekend.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's my pleasure. Carlin, I hope you get the pool off of your roof.
Dude.
The little neighborhood hooligans.
Yeah. James already sent me the new pool that we're going to get. He's like, guess this is New Mexico is way too hot to not have one. And ours is folded up like a quesadilla now.
That's hilarious. Well, hey, I love you both. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you for giving us some of your guys' time. I appreciate it. Sam Albright, dude, I love you, brother. Hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you for jumping in. I love you, Sam. Love you guys. Hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If there's anything you guys need, please let us know. Please go post in the group. We're here to be an asset and a resource for you any way that we can. If you guys are interested in more information about our upcoming cohort for our mentorship, please shoot Carlin or I a DM with the word growth. And we would love to just schedule a meeting with you, give you any information that you need access to, or answer any questions that you guys have. So happy to do it. Thank you guys. Have an awesome day.